Hey guys, uh, thought I'd do a couple of quick videos, or at least one for now anyway. I guess it's about time I share my personal Mandela Effect stories. Um, Extremely personal, things that shook me to my core. Um, I am a big fan of Pink Floyd, always have been, and grew up watching uh, Wizard of Oz with, we when we were teens we'd run the track with Dark Side of the Moon, and later on in the '90s, later on, I created my own version. Made a DVD with the soundtrack overlaid, and had it saved as a file forever. But then when the Wizard of Oz stuff started happening, I decided to. First thing I went was I grabbed my VHS copy, put in the tape, VHS player, and it had changed. It was the haunted forest scene was completely different. The bug sprayer was there, the pipe wrench, and the pistol, and that kind of freaked me out. Because I mean, I've had other things that I've found residuals for, but I've never had anything that I've seen. I couldn't understand how in the world my VHS tape just changed, because that was the first time I'd ever really up close and personal experienced the Mandela Effect. And sorry about that. Um, my cigarette's going to keep going. So I decided to get that particular version out, the one that I made. I had to look through some hard drives to find it, but I found it and watched it and forwarded to that scene, and it was fine. Nothing had changed. So I did a screenshot, opened it up into I use PaintShop Pro 7 still a lot. It's just what I've used so much. I'm very good with it. Use GIMP and Photoshop some, but PaintShop Pro for most quick things. Open it up and it's fine. Okay. So minimize it, go back to watch the movie, rewind back again, and it just changed right there in front of me. All of a sudden it wasn't that way anymore. It was not the old reality. All of a sudden, now it was the new reality. So I thought, well, I'm certainly glad I've got that screenshot. Well, I opened the, maximize that, and son of a bitch, it changed. And that really freaked me out. Okay, that's when everything was just first getting changed around, and it messed me up. But I don't think that one was quite as bad as the VW stuff. And I'm going to explain that one to you now. Let's see, let's go ahead and open up. Oh, good grief. Okay, gonna pause this, set it to full screen, and I'll come back. Okay, sorry, I'm still getting used to this software. let's see, I posted a picture that it was taken in 2010 of a rail buggy that I had built in 2007. And as you can see by the date here, this was posted January 6, 2017. It's when I first actually noticed I had a residual. So let me show you. I have two different angles of that. I'll show you the date. (125:10). Now we'll zoom in here. As you can see, that VW logo, that was placed there when I built this thing. Now you'll have to pay attention to right here, because this thing's been in storage for a little while at my mom's, and the way I built the windshield, there's a grease in here inside this channel, and when I show you this logo since 2010, since this picture was taken, here's the other angle. Not quite as clear, but you can still tell. Believe me, you'll tell the difference. And this was taken, and see, here's the bar, same panel. It's just been in storage for a while, but look here. Now this was taken Christmas morning of this past year of 2017. Excuse me. When I saw this was worse than the this was this was worse than the Wizard of Oz thing to me, because I hadn't been over there to look at this until we always have Christmas breakfast at my mom's during Christmas, on Christmas morning, my family and I. And I hadn't been over there to see it, so let's bring this one back up. That one's a little better shot. Now, when I got out there, I'm sorry, excuse me. When I got out there and saw that it had changed and took that picture, this one, I went back in the house, filled up a mug of coffee, went outside, and just sat there. And the only thing that could go through my mind was, like that scene in The Matrix where he first goes to meet the Oracle, and she says, "Don't worry about the vase," and he says, "What vase?" and he knocks it off. And then he says, "Sorry," and she said, "Oh, what's really going to bake your noodle later is, would you have broken it had I said anything?" Well, to me, that just kept running through my mind. Did this thing know I was coming out here? Did the system, the simulation, the matrix, whatever this is that we live in, this reality, did it know I was coming to check on this? And did it change specifically because I was coming to check on it? Or has it already been changed and I just haven't, I haven't been over there to notice it? When did it change, I guess, is what is blowing my mind. But let's see, let me get back on alright, I'm gonna stop it again and I'll slice them together. So as you can see, I had residual evidence. Well, I do have residual evidence. I have those two pictures, and both of those pictures are the originals that were taken in a Sanyo camera. Um, they still have the same file names that were given to them. They have the metadata. Um, I don't know it. If I was already upset about that being the first Christmas without Angela, my fiance who I lost. But I was trying to just, stay away and try to keep my head clear of that part of it. And I go outside to check on, it just hit me. Go look at the logo and see if it's changed. And I get out there and damn if it hasn't. And I don't know when. I just know that I can't even tell you if when I took it over to Mom's to put it in storage a couple of years ago, if it had changed then. Because I wasn't aware of all this stuff going on at that point when that was taken over there. So I don't know. I just know that I've got pictures, and that's the exact same logo that was on it. I know that it looks nice and clean and new, but that where the rail buggy sits, the sun doesn't hit it. Although it looks, at that point I knew that the cover had come off, so it's been rusting, which I've got to clean up. I'm going to clean that up this summer. I also wanted to talk to you about something else. If you have Netflix, this is something that I've been doing. It's really eye-opening. Now I don't know, you get a better appreciation for it. But if you have Netflix, the entire series of Twilight Zone is on Netflix. And I've been going back, and I love older black and white movies anyway, and the older movies I think they have a lot better plot lines than this shit they make today. And I'm so sick to death of CGI this, CGI that. And one thing I always appreciated about the black and white movies was how they mastered lighting, with shadows and whatnot. That's one thing too about some of the directors for the Twilight Zones. If you'll notice, some of their characters like the characters in the foreground, they may cast 3 or 4 shadows, which you'd think would be like unprofessional, but what if it's not? What if it's done that way on purpose? What if they say, okay, just like Rod Serling. By the way, the last episode of season 1, Rod Serling is a figment of the author's imagination. He's explaining at the end how this can only happen in a Twilight Zone, and then the guy says, "Wait a minute, Rod. Do I need to go over here and get your?" You'll have to watch it, but make sure you watch it all the way to the end, and look at how his name's spelled on the envelope. But go back and watch some of the Twilight Zone, and see if you get a new appreciation for some of the cool stuff that's on there now. And a lot of it makes a lot more sense now than it did before, especially in this crazy world we live in now. So just wanted to make a quick video and share a couple of Mandela Effect stories that I've got, personal stories. And enough times passed now that I'm not as freaked out about it anymore. But that first one with the Wizard of Oz, when it changed right in front of my eyes, I mean, I didn't. It wasn't like it just rippled in front of me. It was a minimized screenshot. I minimized that out, went back, rewound, watched it again, and it changed. So when I brought the screenshot back up, it had changed as well. And that's when my thoughts started going to, it's all just like with the double slit, um, the double slit experiment that is based on observation. I even was going to send Matt my copy to see if it had changed. I was going to mail him a copy of what I had made and let him watch it, but by the time I got to do that, in between that time, he had already seen it change and was aware of the changes at that point anyway. So I assumed that it didn't matter what copy he watched, it was going to be the same. Whereas, had he not observed any other copy, would it change for him? Even, but then again, I had observed that particular copy already, so maybe it had already changed. So who knows? I don't know. You get in all kind of crazy theories, but all right. Well, somebody said something about blue light on my face. that's the particular background wallpaper. It's blue, so said it was freaky. All right. Until I talk to you next time, have a good one, and please be good to everyone else.